Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Huddle. And before you all get all jolly and excited for another episode, we have some sorrow news. That this is, in fact, the last time Inside the Huddle will be recorded. I know. It's sad. But today is going to be one of the best episodes, if not the best of all time, with 3 special guests. Their names are unknown for now, but they will be legendary. And we start off our recap with a Thursday night game between the Bills and the Patriots, in which the Bills would win 24-10. And, the Patriots had an early lead on, but in the end, it just wasn't enough to keep Josh Allen off.
So you usually don't see me second, but here I am. But Ryan is right. The Bills did win 24-10 against the Patriots, just continuing to show why they are an elite team. It's just really dub after dub for the Bills. Definitely a Super Bowl contender. And Stephon Diggs, he just continued to prove why he is the NFL premier weapon of wide receivers.
I'm back. I'm back. I don't. I'm a little angry because they got Nate to make my predictions, and Nate didn't do so well. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. The Bills did beat the Patriots, which a lot of people saw coming. The Bills continue to stay one of the best teams in the league. The Patriots are just kind of a mid-team. There's not much to say about this game.
Yeah, the Patriots are mid. And then the Packers played the Bears, and we all knew it would happen. The Packers would beat the Bears, and the Bears deprove to 3-10. So, the Bears just suck, and the Packers are still third in the division. So nothing really much changed in the NFC North.
Yeah, I guess this game could have gone either way, but the Bears are one of the worst teams statistically in the league so far. The Packers are pretty bad too, with a 5-8 record, which is pretty interesting considering some past seasons. Not much to say about this game. Aaron Rodgers didn't even have that great of a game, but somehow they still pulled off the win.
A.J. Dillon, he had nowhere near the third season he has been expecting to have, because after his second year in the NFL, we thought that he could have the opportunity to be a top-tier running back, but, A.J. Dillon, he's just not good. He had 18 carries, but only 93 yards. He did have a touchdown, but you got to expect more from the guy.
Packers played the Falcons. It was a 3-point game as the Falcons could not win it. They had a field goal in the fourth quarter, but Kenny Pickett got the dub for the Steelers.
Yeah, it was a close game here, 19-16. Steelers won their 5th game for the season. Kenny Pickett did decently, but overall it was just kind of a boring game to watch. Not much happened, and the Steelers just kind of got ahead in the third quarter, and that's what led them to the win.
Now, I know what you're thinking right now. They did say that the Steelers won, but they're not really talking about Pat Freiermuth. He's a tight end, in case you didn't know, because you definitely didn't. Nobody knows who that guy is. And he led the team in receiving yards, but that was only 76 receiving yards. So that's pretty embarrassing for the Steelers. They did get the win over the Falcons, though.
Well, his name is actually Pat Freiermuth, if you didn't know, which clearly you didn't. But our next game was a banger, as it was a premier cornerback against a premier receiver. Sauce Gardner took on Justin Jefferson. He did a good job, except Jefferson did get in the end zone. And Mike White really balled out this game, and he's been doing that the past 2 games. And, that was almost enough to get them the win, as they almost had to come back in the fourth quarter, but they lost.
Yeah, 22 Jets, 27 the Vikings. Close game here. The Jets have had a decent season even ever since they left Breece Hall. And they almost beat the Vikings here, who are 10-2. The Jets are 7-5. Interesting game. Mike White actually had a better game than Kirk Cousins here. But overall, both teams played really well, and the Vikings just can't.
So, yeah, pretty good game from both teams, but the Jets quarterback, Mike White, he threw for 369 yards, which is really good for a quarterback, but his second interception ended up costing the Jets any chance of taking the lead with little time left. So that's just, it's not what you want to see. If you're a Jets fan, you're probably getting really excited in that fourth quarter, yet you did not come out on top. So, yeah.
And then the Jaguars took on Detroit, which, I expected this, as my Detroit Lions just bestowed carnage on Jacksonville. And it was 40-14. Detroit just unloaded on Jacksonville, as Jared Goff looked like an MVP out there, putting up 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, they just dominated that game. The Lions are legit.
The Lions did absolutely destroy the Jaguars 40-14 here. Even though the Lions aren't one of the best teams, they are able to beat these lower tier teams here. Not much to say. Lions improved to 5-7, and the Jacksonville Jaguars went down to 4-8.
Yeah, the Lions absolutely blew out the Jags here, 40-14. When you put up 40-14, there are a lot of guys who just deserve spotlights offensively. The dynamic duo Amon-Ra St. Brown and DJ Chark deserve to be mentioned. Amon-Ra St. Brown hauled in 11 of his 12 for 114 yards, and Clark caught 5 of his 6 targets for 98. So the Lions just had a good game, and that's what led them to the dub.
Titans played the Eagles. They won 35-10 in the Eagles. Justin Hurts had 4 total touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 3 passing, almost 400 yards in the air, and he is just dominating every team that he plays.
Yeah, Eagles won 35-10 here, and the Eagles have still only lost 1 game this entire season. It would have been really cool to see him go undefeated, but going 16-1 would not be a bad record there. Tennessee Titans aren't that bad this year, 7-5. Ryan Tannehill, didn't do all that well, but yeah, Jalen Hurts did amazing this game. Not else much to say about it.
Yeah, the Titans defense, they're usually really good. Unfortunately, they allowed the Eagles to get 35, which allowed the Eagles to get the dub in this one. And Jalen Hurts, he did really, really good. That's really all there is to this game. The Eagles are for sure Super Bowl contenders.
The Commanders played the Giants, and this was a big game considering playoff stakes are on the line here. Neither of these teams want to lose, and probably the worst case scenario for both of these teams, they both lost, which actually does not help their case at all, because teams like the Packers and the Lions are only 2 games behind both of them, and they have a good shot at passing up these teams.
Oh, yeah, so the Commanders and Giants tied, actually. Going into the season, the Giants were doing really well, and we thought they were going to be a top-tier team here. But, now they've pretty much got the same record as the Washington Commanders, who, coming into the season, we thought were going to be one of the worst teams. So, it just comes to show that you can never count anybody out in the run for anything, really.
Yeah, ties are very uncommon in NFL these days. If only Evan was here, I feel like he could have predicted this one, actually, because he's really the only one who calls ties in these teams are actually really even, the Giants and the Commanders, so I guess it kind of makes sense that it happens. I'm not too surprised. But Darius Slayton, he caught 6 of his 8 targets for 90 yards. But he failed to come up with critical deep shot late in the game. That could have changed the outcome. But he led the Giants in targets, catches, and yards, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, tie game.
The Browns played in a game which didn't really have much at stake because the Browns are bad, and they played the Texans as well, who also suck, but kind of an easier win for the Browns here. But guess what? Deshaun Watson came back playing his old team in Texas. Deshaun Watson is back. He did throw a pick, but they did get the win. Yeah, Deshaun Watson back for the Browns. Beat the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, with Deshaun Watson being back and this being his first game back, it was a little interesting. Texans are still one of or is literally the worst team in the league statistically, with still only one win. Definitely an interesting game with a lot of controversy surrounding it. 27-14, with the Browns improving to 5-7.
All right. So you probably remember our best episode on Inside the Huddle. Week 10, we had Hutch Cruciata. He also did the recaps. He said, if you're a Browns fan, you're playing the waiting game until Deshaun Watson's back. Well, guess what? The waiting game is over for you Browns nerds. But Deshaun Watson did terrible. But what do you expect? The dude, he only had 1 week of practice with the Browns, and then he just goes out. He hasn't played football in over 700 days. So, that it makes sense that he'd play terrible. He's still getting used to things. But against his old team like the Texans, they still managed to pull out the dub. Somehow, not really sure. I picked Deshaun Watson up in 2 of my fantasy leagues. Because if you pick up Deshaun Watson, you deserve to lose.
The Broncos played the Ravens. A Ravenless Lamar Jackson is still able to beat the Broncos. That just shows how much they suck. If you're a Broncos fan, you're punching the air right now because they're garbage, and trading for Russell Wilson was the worst trade ever.
Not much to say. This was a pretty boring game, 9-10 with the Ravens winning. So really boring game, actually. One of the worst of the season, I would say, in my opinion. But, yeah.
Yeah, Broncos rookie tight end Greg Dulcich. I don't even know how to say it, but he was the best catcher on the field Sunday. Picking up 6 receptions for 85 from 8 targets. But, yeah, in this one, the Ravens would end up getting the win by 1 point.
Yeah, the Dolphins play the Niners, and they got smacked, losing by 16 points. Tua had 2 picks, which kind of helped, but, the Niners just overpowered them.
Yeah, pretty interesting game. Dolphins losing 17-33 to the Niners. I wouldn't have seen this game coming. It was definitely interesting, but, yeah.
Yeah, in this one, the Niners would be getting the win. Somehow I predicted it. I never predicted the Niners, but I did predict this game. And Tyreek Hill is the best receiver in the league.
Seattle played the Los Angeles Rams, and the Los Angeles Rams are just quite awful. And Seattle just had that game-winning drive there at the end. Geno Smith is playing like a stud with 3 touchdowns, and yeah. Kenneth Walker did go down with an injury, though, and they had to bring in DJ Dallas, whoever the heck that is. He didn't do anything. But, Tyler Lockett had a touchdown. DK Metcalf had a touchdown, so did Noah Fant.
Yeah, not much to say about this game. The Seahawks won 27-23. Like I've said before, the Rams are Super Bowl hung over. They're 3-9 now. The Seahawks are a pretty good team, so it's kind of inevitable this game. Not much to say.
Yeah, Smith continued his breakout season against the Rams, finishing pretty good. He had a really good game, so that's really all there is to it. As the Seahawks won 27-23.
The Raiders would lose to the Chargers 27-20. Justin Herbert had a lot of yards, but he couldn't get in the end zone much, and that ultimately lost them the game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see this one coming. I thought the Chargers would win, but I mean, yeah, the Raiders lost. Not much, or the Raiders won and the Chargers lost. Not much to say about this. Raiders 27, Chargers 20.
Yeah. The Raiders got the dub, and it was all Devontae Adams here. He was just unstoppable, catching all 8 of his catchable targets for 177 yards. And that's all there is to it. It was just Devontae Adams.
Then the Bengals played the Chiefs, and it was much of the same as in the AFC Championship with the Bengals in the end coming out on top. And they had 10 points in the fourth quarter that would get them the comeback win. And, yeah, we saw that fumble with Travis Kelce at the end of the game that ultimately lost them the game.
Yeah, I mean, I know last week that Nate called the Chiefs here, but I mean, had I been here, I would have called the Bengals. Bengals, I always call them to win every single week. 27-24. The Bengals are definitely, again, we're seeing them from last year. This game actually was the exact same score as the game from the playoffs last year, which just shows that the Bengals can be consistent when they need to be. It was a pretty good game. It was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was really just a playoff rematch from last year. And the Bengals won again. I mean, I don't know, all you Kansas City fans just admit that the Who Day is better. As we won 27-24. There's no question about it. We're just better. Better kicker, better quarterback. You know, Joe Burrow, speaking of quarterback, he did really good. 25 for 32, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he also got one as a rusher. So, yeah.
The Cowboys would play the Colts, and it was really not a competition as the Cowboys just steamrolled the Colts. They had 33 in the fourth quarter. Thanks to the ground game, they had 4 touchdowns on the ground and 3 in the air. That's 7 total touchdowns. It wasn't even close. Domination.
Yeah, I mean, this game was an absolute domination of the Colts here. The Cowboys improved to 9-3. It was a pretty good game overall. 54-19 was a pretty wild score.
Yeah, the Cowboys absolutely blew out the Colts. At home, too, Dallas atmosphere must have been crazy. So neither Dak Prescott or Matt Ryan, neither of them had like big time throws where they got a lot of yards. It was really just the short passes, but the Cowboys can still work with that, and that's what just got them the dub against the Colts. And now we move on to Monday Night Football.
And this one was honestly a Brady special, as the Buccaneers would win by 1 point thanks to Brady driving down the field in his biggest fourth quarter comeback of all time, getting the win for the Bucs. And yeah, Brady just proved that he is not out of the league yet, as they are back to 500. And if they keep playing like this, they're going to have a shot at the playoffs and maybe a miraculous run in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I got to watch this game. It was a pretty interesting game here. Not a bad record for the Bucs here. Brady did come back a little bit in this game, like Ryan said. But, I mean, honestly, I don't know if they'll be able to do it. And I don't know, even if they do get to playoffs and they're able to even get past the first round, I don't know how far they'll go.
Yeah, from the first half, even the third quarter, you definitely thought it was Saints game. I mean, and I predicted the Saints. I'm kind of mad about this one because Ryan and Nate predicted the Bucs, but I got it wrong. Alvin Kamara only had 26 yards. Thank God for him. He made me win in fantasy. Pretty good, but the Bucs got the win by 1 point. Screw Tom Brady.
Now, moving on to predictions. In this episode, we're doing it a little different because, as you guys know, this is the last episode. So we'll be doing predictions for not only this week, but we'll be doing for the rest of the NFL season as well as the playoffs and Super Bowl.
We're now going to our predictions for the rest of the year and the playoffs. And we got 3 special guests on the show. The first special guest, I think, has been on the show the most. He is a Seahawks fan. His name is Nathan Stevens. If you know Alex Orrick, you probably know this guy. Next is the man himself. He's pretty popular around these parts. He's a Michigan man too. His name is Hutch Crociata. Coming back, if you're Sam Davies, you are in shambles right now because he is on the show. And now for the last one, who else to have on the show than our first guest, the man, the myth, the legend, D-Lo. He's probably going to be starting varsity quarterback pretty soon. So, we're just going to appreciate the time we have with him before he comes a D-bag. So, let's go. The Raiders play the Rams. I'm going to take the Raiders in this one.
I'm going to have to take the Raiders on this one also.
Yeah, so for Week 14, I'm taking the Raiders. The Rams are Super Bowl hungover.
I'm taking the Rams.
Idiot. I'm taking the Raiders, bruh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Raiders on this one because, Derek Carr's my fantasy QB.
Vikings, Lions. Lions are coming for revenge. Lions are winning.
I'm sorry, Hutch. I got to go with the Vikings on this one.
Yeah, the Vikings. It's going to be the Justin Jefferson show on the Lions. Yeah.
Just talk about Justin Jefferson's show. I mean, we got a wide receiver coming for blood, baby. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side of the field. He's going to have 3 touchdowns, 180 all-purpose yards. They're going to hand it off to him 4 times. We don't care. Get him the ball however we can. I'm taking the Lions by 4.
Vikings, Lions. I'm going to take the Vikings.
All right, Lions suck. Vikings are winning.
The Ravens play the Steelers. Pretty obvious who I'm going with. Actually, I'm going to the Steelers because Lamar Jackson might not play.
That is a good point right there. Lamar Jackson is pretty mid. I'm going to have to go with the Steelers.
This will be an interesting game. It depends on who plays. Safe bet. Steelers. Kenny Pickett.
Ravens.
On God, Hutch, bro. Ravens, bro.
Ravens.
The Browns play the Bengals. Last time they played, the Bengals just got disowned by the AFC North. But, the Bengals are winning this time.
Gotta take the Bengals on this one. The Browns are absolutely terrible.
Cold hard facts is the Bengals just beat the Chiefs, so the Bengals will win this game.
All right, we got Bengals versus Browns. I'm taking the Browns. Let's go.
I'll take the Bengals.
I'm taking the Bengals.
The Jets versus the Bills. I'm taking the Bills.
Gotta take the Bills on this one. Josh Allen is on my fantasy team. He's a dog.
Jesus Christ. I'll take the Bills.
I forgot who was playing.
Jets, Jets, baby.
I'm taking the Jets.
I'm taking the Jets.
Pick whatever I pick. He does that every single week. He chooses one person and he copies every.
The Texans play the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Gotta take the Cowboys after that destroying game last week.
It's gonna be an absolute fucking.
You know who used to play for the Texans? That don't matter. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Eagles play the Giants. Giants are winning upset.
Nah.
I really need the Giants to win this one. I hate the Eagles. Go Giants.
Sorry. The Eagles are winning this one. They'll improve to 12-1.
In order to help the Lions' playoff chances, the Giants need to lose. Fly, Eagles, fly.
God, I knew you were going to say some shit like that.
Eagles.
Owen, please
Giants.
stop speaking.
The Jaguars play the Texans. Or, no, they play the Titans. Derrick Henry is going to win.
Yep, got to choose the Titans on this one. I love them.
Move. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Titans are winning.
I'm going to take the Titans.
Same.
I'm gonna have to go with the Titans.
The Chiefs are winning.
The Chiefs play the Broncos. In case he didn't make that clear, the Chiefs will win this game.
Yep, I think the Chiefs are going to win. Russell Wilson is not very good.
Oh, there we go. Go.
All right. They say let Russ cook, but there's a fire in the kitchen. I'm taking the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes has a gay brother.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Seahawks, Panthers, taking the Seahawks.
Gotta take the Seahawks in this one, baby. Fly, Hawks, fly. Ah!
I'll take the Seahawks as well.
Wait, who was it?
Panthers, Seahawks.
Let Russ old team cook. I'm taking Seahawks.
I'll take the Panthers.
I'm taking the Panthers.
Try to be different.
The Bucks play the Niners. Pretty easy choice. 49ers are getting the win.
The Niners are going to win. I don't care if Jimmy Garoppolo is hurt. The Niners will win.
This one's going to be a tie.
If you're putting Brock Purdy against Tom Brady, who the frick is going to win? It's going to be Tom Brady. I'm taking the Bucks.
It's a tie. I wasn't here last week to call it, but this week will be a tie.
Niners.
Fuck you, Owen.
Tom Brady will not tie, all right?
Yeah.
You really think Tom Brady has the mental
The Dolphins play the Chargers. You know, this one is going to be awful. This could be a tie, but I'm going to leave that to Evan to decide. So, the Chargers are winning.
I think I'm going to have to go with the Dolphins right here. Tua is a pretty good football player.
I'll take the Dolphins here. I called my tie last game. Bucks, Niners. That'll be a tie. The Dolphins will win this game.
Dolphins. Go ahead, D.
I'll take the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
The Patriots play the Cardinals. Let's be honest, both of these teams suck. But the Cardinals do have DeAndre Hopkins, so they're going to win.
I like Cardinals. They will win.
I'll say Cardinals.
Who gives a flying fuck? No one's going to win this game.
0-0.
I'll take the Cardinals.
What was the other team?
Patriots, Cardinals.
Cardinals.
All right, and